Just when you thought you were done, I reel you back in because we have another case here from Ted containing the Zzyzx. Oh my goodness. The Zzyzx is an interesting ballad song for me because it's one that I've experienced so many times, but I've never made a blade bias video on it. I've never done that because I just haven't had the alone time with one to be able to make one. And now here we are. And the ballad song is probably louder than my voice is in this video. So I'm sorry if that's super annoying. The Zzyzx is what happens when you have $1,000 ballad song like the solo, but it actually kind of feels worth it because there are pack-ins like the wooden case that you used to get with this thing. I'm actually not sure if you get that anymore, but you did at one point, so I'm still going to talk about it a little bit. And all of the extra inclusions that Paul of AcidWorks, the AcidWorks Zzyzx, puts in to make this thing feel like an event when you buy one. And an event it is. I mean, this has been a good contender for Grail of the Year. I think, did it win one year? I actually don't remember. Maybe the Zzyzx did win Bally Awards Grail of the Year, but it's been a strong contender ever since it came out for its incredibly unique blade shapes. This is the It's Pop-A-Lot-Lotly, I think is how you pronounce it. It's Pop-A-Lot, something like that. No idea, but truly, truly unique stuff with the Zzyzx. And it doesn't flip half bad either. I mean, you look at a design like this and you think, wow, how does that flip good? There's no tip weight. But at the same time, there's kind of all the tip weight because the tip is not thinner than the rest of the ballad song, so you have a ton of weight at the end of the handles, which means fanning on these things is a literal breeze, and it is awesome to do. It carries so much momentum, and I love it. And most of the Zzyzx's are like that, especially the Zzyzx. I don't even remember what the name is, but there's one where it kind of like bulges out at the top. That thing flips awesome to me because it has a ton of tip weight, and that is super, super cool. This specific one, I do like it. The Zzyzx does still live in that $1,000 price range that I find it a little bit difficult to spend on, especially with ballad songs. But this is one that makes a more compelling case because, you know, you get that whole experience with the Zzyzx. You get a ballad song that feels well made and comes from a guy who actually really cares about what he's doing. And not to say that the solo didn't, but Paul is a genuinely passionate guy and an awesome guy to talk to at Blade Show and get to know. And I don't know, the Zzyzx just fits. Like, it feels like a ballad song that was made by Paul. It was made by flippers for flippers, and I think that's really cool. The Grail status on it is definitely deserved, and I love that it provides something completely different from some of the other Grails out there. Some of the most popular ones like the Seraph or like the Tsunami or the Orca or things like that. This truly doesn't flip like any of them, and it's the star of the show here really is its sound. Now this one's a little dry, but it still sounds amazing. I mean, go look up any lubed sound test of the Zzyzx. It rings like hell, and it's awesome. Even this one, it's ringing like crazy. Just otherwise doesn't sound as good as it could. Either way, very, very cool. I love the texture on the chamfers of the handles. It's very rough, but it's okay because you're not always touching it. And then the fact that it's titanium and it's stonewash kind of takes it through the rest of the grip. I mean, there's a lot to like about this thing. And I think the main complaint that I have is the jimping. Because the jimping is just 1, 2, 3. There's 3 little dots there. And I mean, it works, but it doesn't work as well as I would personally want. So I do kind of give it like a -0.5 point for that. But everything else on the Zzyzx, I mean, it is a compelling package. Again, not for me, because spending that much is just way out of what I'm able to do. But if I could, the Zzyzx would definitely be on my list. I actually, after flipping it for a little bit, my other complaint is that it's a little rough on the hands. But the Trainer, this is where things get interesting. This, once you look at it, and especially when you feel it, you could convince me that this was still titanium. Sure, it feels a little bit lighter. Sure, it's a little shinier. Sure, it's a different color. But the feel is almost spot on to titanium. And then you go and do a sound test, and it sounds like any old aluminum balisong, because it is aluminum. This thing's kind of awesome. I don't know much about it. I think this is like a more recent release, but it flips so well, and it sounds so good, and it looks so interesting. I mean, it literally says Zzyzx in the blade. I can't think of any other balisong that is so bold as to put its own name in shining lights in the blade like that as a design feature, not as like an engraving or like a little nod. Like, it is full on, just the blade hole pattern is Zzyzx, and that is it. That's awesome. I kind of love the balls to go for something like that, especially when the blade is just a freaking Minecraft nether portal. It's just kind of a really funny trainer, but then you go and flip the really funny trainer, and it flips really freaking well because it's a square blade. There's a ton of tip weight, a little bit difficult to get into fans, but once you do, it carries momentum and flies like hell, and it doesn't sacrifice on rollovers or chaplains. So there's really nothing that you could throw at this that it can't handle. And I think that that is super, super cool. I mean, it's so interesting to me that this is aluminum, and it still captures so much of the live blade variant, which is titanium, let me remind you. There is a lot to love here, and one thing that I do love is, like I said, it gets... Usually when you have a trainer and a live blade, they feel pretty different. Or if you're like LDY, they feel vastly different. The aluminum Zzyzx captures the feeling and the experience of the titanium Zzyzx in a way that I can't really describe, because it just captures it without capturing it. Because when you really think about it, yes, it's aluminum, it feels different, it's lighter, it has a different balance, all this, yada, yada, yada. But it really does a good job of tricking you. Like, if you get used to this thing, you'll be like, oh, that's the experience of the Zzyzx. And then you go over to a real Zzyzx, and you're like, damn, that thing did a pretty good job of representing this experience, especially the balance. I mean, in my, like, humble 1:30 a.m. sleep-deprived brain, this is very close on the balance. Like, if not almost spot on. I don't know how, because one's titanium and one's aluminum, but they resemble each other. It feels like they are genuinely brothers rather than cousins or step cousins or anything like that. Step cousins, does that exist? I don't think that's how that works. Like, instead of their cousins or like step siblings, they actually feel related to each other, which is kind of a lost art in trainers nowadays, I feel like. I'm trying to think back to the last time I felt that way about a trainer, but I digress. The Zzyzx is a cool package. The ZZYZX Trainer is a cool package. Ted's a cool guy for lending me them. Thank you, Ted. And thank you guys for watching. You're a cool audience for watching this far. That seriously does wrap up the Ted tour of balisongs. Thank you all so much for watching. And I will see you in the next one after I have slept and figured out what the hell I'm going to talk about in the channel now. See you later.